How deep that the water is that's over a road. ABC Action News reporter Wendy Lane just arrived, found a car that stalled out in floodwater in Sarasota County. Wendy, show us what's going on out there.
Yeah, Dia, James, first of all, that rain has not let up. It's still raining, sometimes harder, sometimes lighter, sometimes it hurts. And then these gusts are just still incredible. I mean, they'll just come whipping down the street and nearly knock me over. So I want to show you guys just one of the things that we've run into is a stalled car kind of in the middle of Highway 41 southbound. Obviously, this car is one of those cars that's pretty low to the ground, and it's just stalled here. And one thing that we've noticed, besides the flooding going on in this road, is the people that have been driving by this car and basically coming up on it out of nowhere. And it's kind of a danger. And that's another reason why people shouldn't be out here driving around at this hour, is because you don't know what's going to be in the road, like a car. Or you could get stalled too, because this water, it looks like it's receded a little bit since that car actually got stalled. No one's in that car, so I'm not sure when it got stalled and when the people were able to get out of it. But I don't know if you've ever got stalled in a car. I thankfully haven't, but what a scary situation. Turn around, don't drown. We've heard that hundreds and hundreds of times, but that is one of these reasons, because you never know. See some water on the road, oh, it's fine, it's fine. You never know how deep that water is. You don't know if that road dips down a little bit. Again, these gusty winds, you guys can see them now. I mean, they're just absolutely, watch out. Sorry, we're having some vehicles, big vehicles driving by us right now. So yeah, again, that's, why it's not a good idea to be out on the road, especially when you have just a little car like this trying to get around in weather that, that we've been seeing. Oh, this is past us. It's not. Obviously, even in Sarasota, it's now the rain's starting to come down really hard again. And the wind is still just incredible here. And we're going to keep showing you guys some damage. There's some really heartbreaking damage that we're going to be showing you in a little bit. But yeah, there's stuff all over this place.
Yeah, that's a prime example, Wendy, of why we always say turn around, don't drown. You never know how deep that water is. Hey, Wendy, as you've been driving through, you and your crew have been driving through Sarasota County, if you could, remember we've got people who are just joining us, just now waking up, people who are also listening through our radio partners. Can you paint a scene of what you've seen, the damage that you've seen so far?
Well, first of all, I want to say that these winds are so strong that no one should be out driving around right now. I mean, we're kind of have that special exception, and law enforcement too. We've seen them out. But these winds are still very, very gusty out here. We've seen a lot of big things knocked down. And like I said, in a little bit, we're going to show you something really heartbreaking. I want to wait until we're able to show you that, but it's going to be our next shot. So there's this wind, you guys, is incredibly strong. There's a Sarasota landmark that was damaged by this storm. So this wind's so powerful. One thing that I have noticed in areas like this, like Highway 41, where we are right now, and these gusty winds are so strong, there's not a lot of like little debris around because it's just being blown away. But if you get off on some of those side streets, I mean, they're absolutely covered in it. But on roads like this, they're clear until you run into a great big tree or flood water like this that's several inches deep. And as I said, these wind gusts are still incredible out here.
Okay, Wendy, you just hang tight. We're going to come back to you. We have much more still ahead on our coverage of Hurricane Irma. And of course, we're waiting for sunrise to see just how bad the damage is.
This is ABC Action News.
I've lost count, but it really doesn't matter. We're past 50 hours of continuous coverage. We are here with you throughout our coverage here of Hurricane Irma. I'm James Tully.
I'm Dia Riley. Thank you for waking up with us. We know that you're anxious to know exactly the kind of damage that this storm did. We are too. We're waiting for sunrise. That's when we're going to know for sure. But the good news is it's almost over. We're hoping that everybody's safe. We're going to get a check, but it's almost over. We can at least see the end of it. Is that right?
Yeah, we're probably like in the seventh inning right now is where we're at. We're kind of headed towards the end of this, but the back edge is moving through now, so it's still important to stay at home for at least several more hours. So let's get you updated on the storm itself. There it is. It's now north of Tampa. It is a Category 1 hurricane. It has weakened. Of course, it's been over land the last 12 hours now or so, just about. 75-mile-an-hour winds. It's also speeding up in its forward motion, so its exit out of Florida will be quick. Now, here's something incredible. We've been talking about the spread of this storm, right? Yesterday, we showed you pictures, Dennis. Mobile Bay was emptied by the storm with offshore winds. Miami got battered while the storm was making landfall in Key West. The storm is right here. Jason Adams just showed me a tweet from the National Weather Service in Jacksonville. They have now broken their all-time storm surge record in downtown Jacksonville. That went back to 1964 from Hurricane Dora. That now exceeds that. Irma is nowhere near Jacksonville. That just tells you that both coasts, and it may be the East Coast, that's going to take the brunt of the surge damage from this storm because of an incredibly strong onshore flow. For us, it's going to be images like this, down trees and power lines. This is the worst that I've seen from it in Lakeland, from the Telemundo Orlando. A tree fell there in an apartment. No one injured, though 8 people were displaced. In Pasco County, Tiffany showed me this photo, this tree leaning on their house and over on their car. Lost the lights out here this morning in the studio. So we may have to take that full screen. Thank you very much, guys. So there is that shot from Tiffany. We're going to be going through these little power issues probably throughout the morning. There you see this image from Pete in Hunter's Green. This is New Tampa, up towards northern Hillsborough County, just north of 75. A scene I think all of you will see somewhere in your neighborhood as you wake up and head out later this afternoon. Remember, curfew in Hillsborough County is up until 3 o'clock this afternoon. If you've got a report you want to send to me, at Greg DeWeather, Twitter, Instagram, over towards Facebook. I'm also posting some of these images, wind speed planners, all throughout the morning so that if you can't get that information by listening or hearing from me, you can get it quickly on your phone by pulling up my Twitter feed. If you haven't played much with Twitter or Instagram, one of the great things is that you can set that every time I post something, you'll get a little ding on your phone. So you're not just sitting there browsing, wasting your phone's battery. If I send something out that I feel is important, your phone will ding. You can view it and then turn your phone off to save battery power. Just updated from the National Weather Service. Again, good news. You saw this change on the screen. We now have dropped hurricane warnings for Pinellas, Hillsborough, Polk, Highlands, Hardee, DeSoto, Sarasota, and Manatee counties. Jason Adams is going to tweet this information out right now. He's going to post it on all our social media channels as well. But we have now gone from hurricane warnings down one level to tropical storm warnings. Now, Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus County, you are still under hurricane warnings because you are closer to the center of Irma. Irma is now moving through Citrus County, the center of that storm as we speak. But this is headed in the right direction, and this is going to be something that we'll continue to see through the rest of the afternoon. Your wind planner for Tampa looks like this. 7 a.m., wind still maybe sustained around 39 miles per hour, tropical storm strength. But by 9 o'clock, we're down to 30 miles an hour. And after 10 o'clock, the winds will drop below 30 miles per hour in Tampa. In St. Pete, wind still gusty right now. We could see some gusts to near 55 or 60. By 9 a.m., afternoon, winds below 30 miles an hour. So things are improving. Curfew lifted later this morning, I believe it was 8 o'clock in St. Pete later today. Sarasota still gusty now, but the winds will remain gusty through the afternoon, but they will hang around 28 to 32 miles an hour after 9 o'clock. So I think through 9 o'clock, go ahead and stay inside. After that, I think things get better. And in Highlands County, Avon Park, this will also cover Hardee, DeSoto County, and southern Polk County as well. Winds will drop below 30 miles an hour starting mid-morning. 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then continue into the afternoon, eventually dropping down to 18 miles an hour tonight. Tornado watches no longer up in our area. It's the first coast of Florida, that Jacksonville down towards St. Augustine and Daytona area that is seeing the watch right now. They're still dealing with some pretty strong cells. Irma is now in northern Citrus County, and it is moving up the Florida Big Bend, may parallel the coastline here up into Taylor County towards Perry, and then make its way up towards Tallahassee, Monticello, eventually either southwest Georgia or southeast Alabama, kind of out there between Blakely, Donaldsonville, up towards the Dothan area, heading up towards Montgomery. Back edge of the storm still giving us some rain. So the back edge of the storm is now moving back up into Pasco County. It is windy and rainy across much of Pinellas and a good chunk of Hillsborough County, especially west of 75. There you see this rain band coming into South Tampa. The water is getting pushed back into the bay too, so we could still see water rises. That's why you don't want to get outside yet. And then down towards Manatee and Sarasota County, it's a persistent flow off the Gulf. These rain bands are putting in some gusty winds. I did see one report out of Sarasota in the last hour of a wind gust still to 50 miles an hour. Latest wind gust in Sarasota, 46, 33 in Tampa, 37 St. Pete, 58 in Bartow. 58-mile-an-hour wind gust still in Bartow. That could cause additional power outages and down tree limbs. So that's why we're still asking you to please stay inside at least for the next 3 to 4 hours as Irma slowly pulls away. We'll have another look at your planner, guys, for the rest of the afternoon, show you the rain chances and what they'll do coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Greg D., thank you very much. Clearwater police are about to resume police services there in Clearwater.
The department decided to pull officers off the streets about 8 hours ago because the winds were just too dangerous. They said it was no longer safe for them to put officers out. But again, they are now resuming services.
They say they're dealing with things like, well, that our reporters have showed us, like debris in the road, trees down, power lines down, and traffic signals out. Police are urging you to stay at home at this hour.
Until we tell you that it's all clear, they will let us know, and then of course we'll let you know as soon as we get the word.
The curfew's staying in place for a reason, and we'll keep you posted on those as well.
We also want to check in right now with our Kamasi Aaron.
Yeah, Kamasi, you right now we're on Bayshore Boulevard. We're very curious about conditions there right now. I know that obviously the sun hasn't come up yet, but as they take your shot here, we'll take a look. What can you describe to us, and be as descriptive as you can, because we may have a lot of people listening on our radio partners right now.
Okay, well, I'm standing here on Bayshore Boulevard. It's still pretty windy and pretty rainy out here, but the water has come back into the bay. But we're not seeing a lot of flooding here at this point. I want to show you, this is the bay, and I don't know if you remember yesterday, we were out here live, and there was no water here in the bay. I think we have some video of that because it's such a far cry from what we're seeing right now. There are people walking in this area yesterday, taking pictures, walking their dogs, riding bikes, all kinds of things. But as you can see, that water is now back into the bay. And at this point, we're not sure if it might still come up here, so we're still really being careful. But at this point, there is no flooding here on Bayshore Boulevard as we see so often. I want to show you the roadway, though. It's pretty clear. There's nobody that we've seen on this road this morning except for police officers, because they've been going up and down the road, getting trees and debris and that kind of thing off the road. I don't know if you can see a little bit down here. This is one of the bigger trees that we saw that's kind of halfway in the road. So at one point there was an officer there with his lights on, kind of alerting people, but I guess they realized that there are no there's no traffic out here, so that officer has gone. But we've been seeing a lot of different officers here. But I'm going to just remind you of what this looked like yesterday. There were people walking in the bay. There was no water here, and it's so incredible when we came out and just saw what it looked like right now, to think about what we saw yesterday. People out here with their dogs, they were riding bikes. They were just so surprised to see the bay with no water. I mean, there was like traffic along this road. On the side of the road, police were asking people to leave because people just parked their cars. They got out, they grabbed their camera phones, they were taking pictures of this because it was just so incredible to see. So just to think about hours later how much this has changed, how the water is back in the bay. We have wind, we have rain here. It's just really incredible to think about just this change we've seen here on Bayshore Boulevard in just a matter of hours. And of course, the rain's still coming down. It's still pretty gusty here here when it comes to the wind. So a lot of people heeding that warning and kind of waiting before they come out here and check things out, because I mean, who knows what might happen with the water. We know high tide was just about an hour or so ago, but you know, it's still unpredictable. So a lot of people likely heeding the warning, being really careful when it comes to coming out, observing and seeing what's what. We haven't seen anybody out here yet this morning, but of course we will be out here throughout the morning observing things, letting you know if the water situation changes here at the bay. But for now, there's no flooding, thankfully, and the water is back in the bay. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Kamasi. I just asked Greg D. I said, is that a good sign? He said that does look encouraging. So if you're just waking up with us and you have power and you live in the South Tampa area, Greg says if it hasn't flooded, it's a good sign that you probably aren't going to see any flooding. So
it's good.
You know, yeah, that's a really good sign.
Greg sounded cautiously optimistic there, and that certainly is good. That strange phenomenon yesterday, which has made national headlines.
Right.
It's headlined a lot of publications. That water being pushed out like that. We can't say enough what a bad decision it was for those people who walked out to it. It's a very dangerous situation, but it's back this morning, as Kamasi just showed you, and Greg says it's optimistic.
Probably not going to flood. You know, lots of people are waking up this morning just wanting to get back home. I know that you're anxious to get back home. Reporter Matt Smith talked to one man who's thinking Apollo Beach, who was thinking Apollo Beach or bust.
Not that much damage, thank goodness. You know, it went a little more to the east of us. What I can tell, it was only 85-mile-an-hour sustained winds. So what I see on my cameras is no trees down in the yard, and so I'm going back, and I have my mother with me, and she needs air conditioning. You know how it is.
Well, I know you were concerned about looters. I heard you just talking about that. What are you hearing in your neighborhood in particular?
Well, I heard in Mirror Bay that 4 people got caught looting, and in Symphony Isles, which is in Apollo, both are in Apollo Beach. A friend of mine that's a guard there chased a truck full of people out that were trying to break into a home.
We'll probably hear more reports of looting. A lot of us are being warned, you know, just to trust our gut at this point in time, because people will try to take advantage of you. You know, if someone comes to your home and they claim that they're a contractor or they're from the power company, don't just trust them. Make sure that you check ID. You know, although we've seen kindness in people, there are also people who may try to take advantage of us.
Really good advice there. This just in, we are finding out about a downed power line in Lecanto.
That's not a good sign. Jared Holbrook joins us now live from that area. Jared, what are you seeing?
Well, good morning. We're in the middle of 491 near King B Street in Lecanto, and you can see this down pole right over here. It looks like it might have snapped in two or broken half there, but it's down on the ground. That line runs all the way down. See if I can shine my spotlight on it here. But you can see that line goes all the way down. Now, deputies have this under control. They are allowing certain people to pass through. You can see the line is right there, so they're making sure that when the cars approach that they could fit underneath. Now, some of these jacked up trucks out here actually had to get turned around and sent the other direction. The best thing you can do, folks, is kind of just stay off the road right now and allow these emergency crews to keep these roads nice and clear so they can get power back to you guys. That's kind of the message that they told me to send out to you today. Now, this down pole right here is actually caused from here. So right now they're without power over there. We're going to head over there right after this. But deputies definitely have this situation under control. They've been out here for a while now. We haven't seen too many down lines when we were driving around prior to this one. We've seen a down tree or two, small trees, nothing major right now compared to, you know, the rest of Tampa Bay. But that's what's going on out here in Citrus County right now, guys.
Hey, I need to ask you, Jared, we see the flashing lights there, but we see more cars. Are you mainly seeing first responders, or are you seeing what looks like just, you know, people coming checking out the area?
I don't know if it's necessarily people just checking out the area. This is a major roadway. We have seen a lot of emergency vehicles. There goes another deputy car right there. There do appear to be some people that are coming through. I don't know if they're trying to get home or trying to get to a shelter at that point, but There's a lot of traffic up and down this road normally, so it is a heavily trafficked area, but the best thing that you can do is follow the deputy's advice, stay off the roadways, let them do what they need to do to get power restored back to everybody, because it's a dangerous situation. I mean, that line is not far. You see that the deputy right there in the middle that's waving people through? The line is not much higher than where he's standing right now, so cars can get through it, and they're allowing cars to go through. But, you know, a jacked up truck is definitely not going to make it. So
absolutely.
The best thing you can do is just stay off the roadways and let them do what they need to do.
Yeah, surprisingly, there's a lot of traffic out there right now. All right, thank you, Jarrett. We'll let you guys continue to.
Yeah, and there's a curfew.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a curfew out here until 6 a.m. Now, I'm told most likely it may be lifted. Or they may expand it till 6 p.m., they said. So that's a decision that the Emergency Operations Center director is going to have to make around 6 a.m. They'll make that decision, and we'll, of course, keep you posted on that. But as of right now, there's supposed to be a curfew till 6 a.m. out here.
Yeah, okay. All right. It's a little after 6 right now. We're still waiting. At least people are slowing down. They're not speeding through that area, but you've got those deputies out there. You've got first responders out there trying to clear the scene. So we'll just have to wait. It's still a pretty dangerous situation, but of course people are anxious to get back home.
I'm sure they are. I understand that feeling quite well.
All right, let's go to Nick Saletti. He is on Fletcher Avenue near 275.
This is going to be important, Nick. You're at an apartment complex that may possibly be flooded. Tell us about it.
I'm in quite a bit of standing water right now as the rain from Irma still falls on top of us. I want to show you as I try to walk through this. I mean, in some spots it has to be about a foot or so deep. We were driving around Fletcher Avenue trying to find some storm damage, and we saw this road here and this embankment that looks pretty flooded. And right next door to it is this apartment complex here. And if we can zoom in a little bit, you can see looks like the courtyard in this apartment complex is flooded, and it also looks like there are some ground units too. So we think maybe some of them have been flooded. Haven't seen any of the tenants in yet to ask them, but we're a little bit concerned because we see this courtyard has been flooded, and it looks like the water could be at least close to approaching some of their doors here. But as I just try to walk around a little bit, yeah, I mean, in some spots this is more than a foot deep. And as we've been driving around Hillsborough County, we've seen a number of spots that do have standing water. We've seen some down power lines and also some down trees. So we want people to be aware of that. And also, deputies just started sort of canvassing the area not too long ago, maybe an hour or so ago. They were waiting, a lot of them inside the Emergency Operations Center, because they wanted to make sure that those winds had died down a little bit, to make sure that it was absolutely safe for them to go ahead and respond. But like I said, I mean, a lot of places here, this is what we're seeing, and we just want people to be aware of that. Also getting some reports of power outages too. I just got a text from someone from the sheriff's office. It looks like South Tampa right now also has some power outages, so please be aware of that. We know crews are trying to work to get power back on for everybody. We've seen a few of them working and whatnot in this area. We've been all around Hillsborough County, and this is really what we're seeing, a lot of standing water, and we want people just to be patient and know that they're going to find things like this as they wake up this morning, and especially as that sun comes up. That's going to be the real truth teller on how much damage actually we sustained here in Hillsborough County.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nick. You know, again, you have no idea what's in that water as well. So as people are anxious to get back home, you don't want to just go, you know, walking in that water. You have no idea what's in there. Bacteria, debris. You can hear the frogs back there. Could be snakes. So just, you know, just kind of, yeah, make sure that you're using caution. You know, we know you're anxious. You want to get back in. You want to check things out, but just be careful. We do want to keep checking on conditions all across the Bay Area as we get closer to sunrise, just to see, you know, how things are looking.
And we've got Action News reporter Chris Stewart, and we understand he is in South Tampa. We're going to join him live now. Let's bring up his shot and see where Chris is. There you are, Chris. Tell us about conditions right now. Tell us about what you're seeing.
Well, I know Nick was just talking about the reports coming in that South Tampa has a lot of outages. I can tell you, as we just drove down the street here, a lot of businesses still out and a lot of power lines down, which is a good reason to stay in your home until police are done checking out the entire situation. We just came up here on San Carlos. Look at this tree. Came down right here. Looks like it came down on, we count, 2 cars right here. Pretty good damage to this one on the left. There's a Lexus over here on the right. Doesn't seem to be too bad at this point, but one of the tenants who had come out and then went back inside had told me a bit of irony for the owner of one of these vehicles. It was a woman who had actually moved her car from Bayshore, concerned about the storm surge that Irma could bring. So she moved her car to her relative's place here, and you can just see the damage that's been done. So that is going to be a tough situation for whoever owns this car this morning as they get up. But as we drove here, police are definitely out on the roads, making sure everything's okay. We've seen multiple power lines down, street crossings, they're out as well. So even though you're waking up this morning, you might think, hey, I want to go check out what this storm did. It's still a good idea to stay inside, because I can tell you, can still actually hear some trees breaking, some limbs falling off. It's just not safe at this point.
For us, thank you so much, Chris. I'll tell you, stay safe out there. We'll check back in with him in just a little bit. There's a sign of some pretty serious wind damage. You see a tree snap right there from the middle, and then on two cars. It's very unfortunate. So, again, about the next 45 minutes, Dia, when the sun starts to come out, we're going to really get a look at what this storm damage could be like.
Yeah, you feel so bad for that woman. Moved her car from Bayshore, afraid of flooding, and then to have the tree fall on it. We want to check in now with Lindsay Logue. She's watching some of the Bay Area roads to keep you up to date. And Lindsay, you got some information on the Howard Franklin, right?
Breaking update right now on some of the bridges. The Howard Franklin Bridge right now is shut down southbound. That is going to be 275 south from Tampa into St. Pete. This is part of the Pinellas County curfew, and the fact that they said they weren't letting residents in until they could assess the damage and the roadways. That is why the Howard Franklin Bridge is being shut down right now southbound. Live look right here. This is going to be the Tampa side of the Gandy. The Gandy Bridge is shut down westbound from Tampa into St. Petersburg. Also right now, the Courtney Campbell shut down in both directions. The Skyway also shut down in both directions. We knew that this was going to happen. We were anticipating this. Remember, there still is a curfew in place for many counties and cities here in the Bay Area. We're keeping you posted all morning long on Twitter at Tampa Bay Traffic. Also, crashes here and there. I'll let you know about those too.
Wow, scary scene there, an unexpected explosion. We continue to get in pictures and videos from our viewers on our Facebook page. This one was sent to us by Jesse Lane. The Pasco County resident says a power line caught a tree on fire and then exploded. It looked like fireworks there.
Yeah, it really is. It really is pretty staggering video, and I'm sure that happened a lot around the area. We'll update the power outage numbers in just a few seconds. Irma, they're causing a lot of trees to fall, too. I think that's the majority of what our reporters have found out around our viewing area this morning. Look at this picture sent to our Facebook page. This is from Dawn Fontes, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your last name incorrectly, but Dawn took this photo of a tree crashing right into her sister's house on Patty Drive in Oldsmar. Again, you know, situations like this, down trees all across the entire state right now, to say the least.
Yeah, that's for sure. We want to check in now with ABC Action News reporter Clifton French. He shows us the damage in a Fort Myers neighborhood east of I-75.
Fort Myers is still under curfew until 7 a.m., but we're just getting outside and seeing some of this damage. And on this street, it's just down tree after down tree after down tree. They essentially line this road in this neighborhood, which is just east of I-75 in Fort Myers. Now, we've also noticed some flooded roads and some impassable areas as well. There have been large, widespread power outages here. Police actively enforcing this curfew, though, so we're still waiting to figure out how bad this damage is, how extensive it is once the sun comes up. We'll bring you updates as soon as we get them. Back to you.
Clifton
Right,
French for us in Fort Myers. And, you know, we were just looking at a little bit south of him, Naples, some drone videos, pretty staggering from our sister station down there.
It is amazing, all kinds of damage that we're seeing on this video, lots of flooding. Greg, the eye of this storm came in very close to that area, Marco Island, but the video from Naples is just, it's stunning.
Oh, they got the brunt of it for sure. I mean, they literally they got the brunt of the storm there in Naples. The eye wall moved through. Yeah, I saw the same drone video. Those do not look like, they look like manufactured homes in many cases. And the winds there unlike here, were definitely strong enough for structural damage, and that's what we see in that video. I think once we get to first light, we're really going to see that Marco Island to Naples by far took to brunt of this one. This is from Polk County. I just went to the sheriff's Facebook page. They posted this one. Their deputies impacted by a falling power pole right on the trooper's vehicle there. They're okay, but this is the kind of dangers they were dealing with as they were trying to keep us safe around Polk County. If you're wondering about reports out of Polk County, I just shared that on my Facebook page. Their list of reports so far, and this is just a little sample of it, is huge. They're basically reporting widespread power outages, widespread tree and property damage. It doesn't necessarily mean homes were damaged, but you know, trees could fall on fences, on cars, carports, that type of deal. So they're seeing that as well. If you've got something you want to get into my hands, I do not want you to go outside and take any pictures right now. It's still too dangerous. Ag Weather, Twitter, Instagram. The report shared on that Facebook page if you're wondering about friends, family, or your home in Polk County. If you're watching or listening to me from somewhere else, Greg DWFTS there on Facebook. So we have now reduced our hurricane warnings to tropical storm warnings from Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Polk County south. The only counties left under a hurricane warning, Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus. Lakeland, your wind planner on the screen right now. It's 40-mile-an-hour winds at 7 a.m. down to 25 at 9. So you see between 7 and 9, and you're going to see this trend here around the area. That's when we'll see some of the biggest wind drops, and then just stays breezy for the rest of the afternoon, but the winds down out of tropical storm strength. Bradenton, same deal. 46-mile-an-hour winds 7 a.m. down to 28 at 9 a.m., and we stay in the 20s through the rest of the afternoon. High tide cycles, we're just past these now. That's good news. The tide is going to try to pull out right now. We haven't seen any flooding in Bayshore. That's encouraging, though there may be still some areas that see flooding. You may see flooding away from the water because of all the heavy rain that we've seen, which in some cases has been over 7 inches. Tampa's planner for today keeps us in the 70s through 9 o'clock. Rain chances 70% at 9. By 11, rain chances down to 20%. They stay 10 or 20% through the rest of the afternoon. We'll see breezy conditions, cloudy skies past 11 a.m., and any breaks of sun are going to warm us up into the low 80s. But today, in terms of comfort, for those of you who have no power, is going to be the most comfortable day. Upper 70s, low 80s, it's going to be humid. It will start to turn hotter tomorrow, and then by Wednesday and Thursday, we're really going to be talking about temperatures closer to 90 degrees. Remember, today, in terms of damage, is going to be probably the worst day because we're just assessing it. I think it's safe to say that for most of you, if you don't have power this morning, it is very likely that you still will not have. We're really going to be talking about temperatures closer to 90 degrees. Remember, today, in terms of damage, is going to be probably the worst day because we're just assessing it. I think it's safe to say that for most of you, if you don't have power this morning, it is very likely that you still will not have power when you're going to sleep tonight. There is no way that the crews will be able to put up the majority of the lines back up today. It's probably going to be really tomorrow and Wednesday that they'll make the biggest headway. Today is just going to be cleaning up, getting the trees out of the way before they can even get the power lines up. And remember, those crews, they're not going to get up in their buckets in their cars, in their trucks, until the winds die down below a certain threshold, and that's probably tropical storm strength. So unless these tropical storm warnings are reduced, canceled, they're probably going to stay put. This is live imagery now from Daytona Beach, the east coast of Florida, where the surge has by far been the greatest. I mean, really from Miami all the way up to Jacksonville. Up the road in Jacksonville, this is more than 100 miles from the center of Irma. We're talking about record storm surge in downtown Jacksonville. More than 100 miles away from Irma, they're talking about record storm surge in downtown Jacksonville like they've never seen before. Strong onshore flow. The water levels are up. They're probably coinciding with high tides. They're also dealing with heavy rain and isolated tornadoes in that whole mess. So the East Coast by far took the brunt of the surge. It's going to be the West Coast that's going to take the brunt of the wind, and it's really going to be Polk County south, down towards Naples and over towards Marco Island, with sporadic tree and wind damage closer to the coast, much like you guys are reporting to us this morning. Now, we're not done with the storm. This is why we're still staying in. This is why we're still talking about that tropical storm warning. Look at this feeder band of rain now coming into Hillsborough and Pinellas County. This is still going to produce wind gusts 35, 45 miles an hour. Any loose tree branches still stuck up in the trees or in the power lines could still come down. You could still lose power if you've got it now. That's absolutely possible due to the wind. The rain is now really heavy. Pinellas Park south towards St. Pete, blinding horizontal rain here, and it's now pointed into South Tampa, McDill, all the way up towards the Gandy probably, and if not the Howard Franklin is some of the heaviest rain, and then the rain extends north towards the Pasco County line in Hillsborough County. South of Hillsborough County, pretty solid swath of rain and a pretty good rain band just north of Bradenton. It becomes more scattered around Sarasota, but then south of there, south of the turn on 75, south of Northport, the southern extent of Sarasota County, still getting heavy rain, and that's now going into Charlotte County. This rain band in Port Charlotte will shift north through the day, so expect that to work its way through Sarasota over towards Manatee County. The northern counties, Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus, you're closer to the center of the storm. You're in your lull right now. The back edge of the storm will move in. Last thing I want to show you is these wind gusts, and this is why we're still not going out. 58 mile an hour in Bartow, 45 Haines City, 39, that's tropical storm strength in St. Pete, and 43 in Sarasota. So there are still some isolated gusts here, well in excess of tropical storm strength. We have reduced the flash flood warnings. That's good. They're now gone. But some isolated areas of standing water is still possible. Guys, we'll be tracking the storm with you throughout the morning. Another update coming up a few minutes away. And actually, we're going to keep going. All right, we're now ready. Let's just keep going. I've got lots of graphics to show you. Let's go through the day hour by hour as we go into midday today. There is Futurecast, potential rainfall and gust. You see the gusts reducing. I'll take you through the evening, then we'll stop right there. The wind gusts lower by tonight. Still a couple showers and cloudy skies. I do expect more sunshine and warmer temperatures to return tomorrow. Guys, I think now you're ready.
I think so. Thanks, Greg.
I think we're all set. Thank you, Greg. You've been our rock here for the last 7 days, and you've covered a lot of time. Thank you. Let's go back to Sarasota County now with Wendy Lane, who's been moving around different locations and seeing some things.
Yeah, Wendy, we hear that you're near a landmark that sustained some damage. Do you know what's going on out there? What caused it? Any idea?
Well, Dia, it was definitely the wind that caused it. So take a look at this beautiful building behind me. This is a colonial-style, Georgian-style First Baptist Church that was built in 1962. It's been a landmark in downtown Sarasota here on Main Street ever since. It's a beautiful building. Again, I'm going to show you, if we can just pan up to the top like you've seen it. So all the way up there, there was a cross on top of that, guys. Now we're going to walk over. I'm going to show you where that cross is now. It's right over here, right on the sidewalk, right in front of the front doors of the church. Can you believe that? Look at that. That's the cross that was probably 100 feet up on top of this church, now crashed down in front of the entry of the church. I want to show you something. This is probably likely where that cross may have landed. You can see some white paint right here. That cross, that would have definitely killed somebody had anybody been standing down here. Now it sits right here in front of the church. It's so heartbreaking to see something like this. You can see the wire for the cross right here, just kind of shredded apart, and all because of those wind gusts. We've been telling you, we're still seeing, some of them, but nothing like what would have caused that. This is so heartbreaking. Again, this is a more than 50-year-old church that's been here on Main Street, the First Baptist Church in downtown Sarasota. We wanted to definitely show you guys that. Again, we're showing you as much as we can as the damage as we run across it here in Sarasota this morning.
Wendy, James Tully here. We're talking with Greg about some concern for the coastal communities with gusts of wind. Last time we were with you probably about 45 minutes to an hour ago, and you were talking about the gusts. Still pretty strong checking with our reporters more to the north of us. They weren't really experiencing the same thing. Just you said that still you're getting some gusts?
we're getting incredible gusts still. And honestly, they stopped for a little bit of time. There was a little bit of let up, and I think that's when the whole storm system was kind of turning around us and the eye had spread out a little bit. So we had a little bit of a let up of the wind and the rain, but just a little bit. And now the rain's picked back up. It's very off and on, and those gusts have never really slowed down ever since then. I mean, these gusts are incredible. That's why we're telling people, please stay off the roads. You still don't know what these gusts are capable of. We haven't seen any that would probably do damage like this. I'm not sure when this would have happened, but as you can tell, I mean, this did some pretty incredible damage to the cross itself. I don't know if this is salvageable from the broken arm right here of the cross. It's just so heartbreaking, and you can see with the kind of algae that's growing on it how long the cross had been up there, more than 60 years or 50 years, I should say, because this church was built in 1962.
Well, Wendy, we're just glad that you guys are still safe. And we'll check back in with you the closer we get to sunrise. I have a feeling that we're going to see, a lot more damage in that area. Again, if you're just waking up with us, there is not a curfew in place in Sarasota County, but first responders and emergency operations officials are asking you to please just stay off the roads. You can, of course, go out, check your property, but they're asking that you just keep the roads free right now because they want to allow first responders to get out there and assess the damage before they give you the okay to get back out. Or if you're in a shelter and you're anxious to get back home, just wait a little while longer, and then we'll give you the okay. As soon as we get word from them that it's okay to drive back home, then we'll let you know.
Yeah, the EOCs are going to be reaching out to us very, very soon with some updates.
They're already out on the roads. They're already clearing the roads, and all over the Bay Area. They're already trying to clear the roads, but as soon as we get word, we'll pass it along to you.
And you heard Wendy. She's still experiencing some pretty rough conditions out there, and they can't think of anything more heartbreaking to see than a broken cross this morning. It's really so. Again, heed the officials' warnings. Let's go to Fort Myers now, where one of our worst hit areas.
Yeah, that is for sure. We've been looking at some drone video from the Naples area. Just heartbreaking. We want to check in with Clifton French. He just arrived in that area. Clifton, tell us what you're seeing out there.
We sat through this hurricane in Fort Myers, so we're just now getting out of the neighborhood where we were. We wanted to point something out to everybody, just with the power outages. These street lights are out. We're being told to treat every intersection as a four-way. Now, people are just flying through this, but this street right now we're at Colonial and Winkler Boulevard, which is a fairly busy, heavy intersection here in Fort Myers. You wouldn't be able to tell, but this is how you can figure out where we are. You got to piece together these signs that obviously flew off and crushed. But even over here, you're seeing these smaller trees are even uprooted in this direction. So all of this is bad. We were out yesterday, last night, right before we were told that we needed to get back inside, and we know that a little bit further from here that several roads are impassable. There's some flooding issues, lots of trees covering up the roads. We're heading that direction now, but we wanted to get with you and just tell you, see, look at these vehicles, these cars, just not stopping. And there are other vehicles that will just fly right through the other direction. So you need to be safe when you're going through here. What we've been doing is using our flashlights when we go through intersections as well, just to let people know out the side windows that we are passing through that area. But once again, almost every intersection, widespread power outages here. Almost every intersection with a traffic light, the traffic light is out. So just be careful once you do get on the road, because who knows when this is gonna come back up. But these people, they stopped. They're treating this as a four-way. Now they're getting back through. They're doing the right thing. Everybody needs to keep that in mind once they get back on the road.
Clifton, James Tully here. I'm sure you know this, but just about 20 miles away from you in Naples, there were gusts of wind reported in excess of 140 miles per hour. So you're not very far from that, and you can see the damage that that was suffered in that area. Pretty extreme, pretty serious.
You know, and right here, this exact area that we are, we just wanted to showcase this once again to show you the right and wrong thing to do with this traffic issue. But yes, you're exactly right. You know, other areas around here have some pretty severe damage. We haven't seen any structural damage. I don't know what this convoy is of emergency personnel coming down here, but you know, we have, you can tell, emergency crews coming out to do what they can. Let's just take a look at who these folks are. Oh, power crews. So we have some, or no, sorry, that was fire department. So we have the fire department coming through. I'm sure they're going down to assist with something. But the roads down there, the direction they're going, many of them, once again, unpassable, trees going across them, many of them flooded, you can't get through, and most of that from rainwater and plugged storm drains from all the debris that was getting stuck in there. So we're going to head the direction that those emergency personnel are going in, and we're going to bring you those updates as soon as we get down there.
But if nothing else, Clifton, certainly a good sign that the emergency personnel is out and about and, you know, doing what they can.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Clifton French for us in Fort Myers this morning. We're going to check back in with him momentarily. Clifton,
Right.
Great job out there. Please stay safe.
Now we want to head to Hernando County. Take a look at this picture right here. This is a picture that we just got. This is a 7-Eleven on Barclay Avenue and Spring Hill Drive. Just incredible. The awning there just looks like it's been ripped to shreds there.
Yeah, just ripped right off there.
The store itself looks like it's standing, but the awning over those gas pumps just ripped up.
And we also have this new video here of flooded train tracks. This here is on Columbus Road in Hillsborough County. Our Jared Holbrook is all over Citrus County, and we're going to go to him in just a second. But again, flooded train tracks, Hillsborough County, the picture on your screen that you're seeing. You know, there's an area prone to flooding, Dia, you know, something to be expected. And, you know, we're still minor concerns about storm surge right now, so we're going to obviously stay on that. Greg D used terminology I think that a lot of us understand. We're in about the 7th inning here of everything. So not out of the woods yet, but we are moving in that area.
We do want to check in with Jared Holbrook. He's in Citrus County. He just got to the College of Central Florida, the campus in Lecanto. That was a shelter, but now they're allowing people to leave. Is that right, Jared?
That's right. The curfew has been lifted now, so they are allowing people to, you know, go on home. But, you know, you are encouraged to stay off the road. If you saw me at that down power line on 491 just a few moments ago, this is the effect right here. This is one of the shelters at the College of Central Florida. They're without power, and so now you've got Citrus County Transit. They're actually busing people out here, taking them either to their homes or to another shelter, and you've got people that are actually leaving on their own right now. Kelly over here. Come on over here, Kelly. You've been at this shelter all night.
Yes.
Well, tell me, what was it like? When did power go out?
I don't know. I was sleeping.
You were
Actually,
sleeping.
to
So
get
you just
some
woke up
sleep.
and it was dark.
Yeah, well, kind of. We're in the dog section, so we have all the dogs with us. So.
Pet-friendly shelter here. Yep.
Yeah, part of it was pet friendly, and the other part is just people. They were able to split us up. So.
Could you kind of describe the mood in the shelter last night? I would imagine a lot of folks had a little anxiety knowing that their homes are, you know, they're not with their homes.
No, not really.
You were all right.
Yeah, the anxiety levels were more about control of the animals, keeping quiet. And once everybody calmed down, got settled in, so did the dogs.
How did all those animals do?
Pretty good, actually.
All right.
Somebody brought a litter of puppies, so we've all been subject to baby noises in the dark.
All right. Thank you so much. Odie, come on over here for a second. This is Odie. He's with Citrus County Transit. And
no, we're with Citrus County, sir.
Sir, excuse me.
Emergency
So
responders.
tell me what you're doing here.